What if one controversial decision changed the entire FIFA World Cup? Not because of a last-minute goal or a dramatic penalty shootout, but because of a single red card that suddenly disappeared. Just hours before the United States faced Belgium in one of the biggest matches of the tournament, FIFA made a decision that nobody expected. Fans were stunned. Players were confused. European football leaders were furious. And before long, the debate had grown far beyond the game itself. Questions about fairness, politics, and the integrity of the World Cup were suddenly everywhere. This wasn't just another football controversy. It became one of the biggest stories the sport has seen in decades. The story began on July 1st in Santa Clara, California, where the United States faced Bosnia and Herzegovina in the round of 32. The American team looked completely in control from the opening whistle. They were playing with confidence, moving the ball quickly, creating chances, and showing exactly why many believed this could be the country's best World Cup team in years. Leading the attack was Folarin Balogun, the Monaco striker who had quickly become one of the tournament's breakout stars. Balogun had already given the United States the lead with another composed finish. Every time he touched the ball, the crowd sensed danger. His movement was creating space, his confidence was growing, and Bosnia simply couldn't find an answer. It looked like another memorable night for the American striker, and another comfortable step toward the round of 16. But then everything changed in an instant. In the 64th minute, Balogun challenged for the ball with Bosnia defender Tarik Muharremouvic. As both players fought for possession, Balogun's right foot landed on the back of his opponent's ankle. At full speed, the referee allowed play to continue. There was no whistle, no yellow card, no sign that the incident would become one of the biggest talking points of the entire World Cup. For everyone inside the stadium, it seemed like football had simply moved on. Then VAR stepped in. The video assistant referee recommended an on-field review, sending Brazilian referee Rafael Claus to the monitor. Millions of fans watched as he carefully studied the replay before reaching into his pocket and pulling out the red card. Just like that, Balogun's night was over. The stadium immediately erupted with confusion. American fans couldn't believe what they had just seen. Even neutral supporters were left wondering if the punishment truly matched the challenge. Social media exploded within seconds, and television analysts immediately began debating whether the decision was correct. The controversy wasn't only about the challenge itself. It was about how the decision was made. According to FIFA's own VAR guidelines, referees should evaluate the intensity of a challenge at normal speed whenever possible because slow-motion replays can make accidental contact appear much more dangerous than it actually was. Critics quickly pointed out that the replay shown to the referee appeared in slow motion, making the contact look harsher than many believed it really was. That small technical detail suddenly became the center of an international debate. Was the referee shown enough angles? Did the replay create the wrong impression? Would the decision have been different if the incident had been viewed at full speed? Those questions spread across football faster than almost any goal during the tournament. Many former players believed the challenge deserved a yellow card instead of a straight red. They argued that Balogun wasn't trying to hurt his opponent. It looked more like an unfortunate collision during a fast-paced football action than a dangerous tackle deserving an immediate dismissal. Balogun himself never tried to create drama after the match. Instead of arguing with the referee or losing control of his emotions, he calmly walked off the field. He even shook the referee's hand after the final whistle, showing remarkable composure despite knowing that his World Cup could suddenly be in serious danger. Later, when speaking publicly about the incident, Balogun explained that the contact was completely unintentional. He respected the referee's authority but admitted he believed the decision was incorrect. In his opinion, a yellow card would have been a fair punishment because there was simply nowhere else for him to place his foot during the challenge. Perhaps the most impressive part wasn't what he said about the decision. It was what he said about responsibility. Balogun reminded everyone that professional footballers inspire millions of young fans around the world. Even when players believe something is unfair, he said they still have a responsibility to react with respect rather than anger. That mature response earned praise from fans across different countries, even from people who disagreed about whether the challenge deserved a red card. Unfortunately for the United States, sportsmanship couldn't change the rules. Under FIFA's World Cup disciplinary regulations, A straight red card automatically carries a one-match suspension. The punishment is immediate. No appeal. No review process. No exceptions. Or at least, that's what everyone believed. American coaches immediately began preparing tactical plans without their leading striker. Mauricio Pochettino knew replacing Balogun would be almost impossible. His movement, finishing ability, and confidence had become essential to the United States attack. Losing him before facing Belgium felt like losing the team's biggest offensive weapon at the worst possible moment. Belgium also adjusted its preparations. Without Balogun leading the line, Belgium expected a very different American attack. Defensive plans were changed. Matchups were studied. Everything suggested the round of 16 would now look completely different. Across the football world, everyone accepted that the decision, whether fair or unfair, was final. The story seemed finished. Until 4 days later, on the morning of July 5th, while the American players were riding their team bus to training, something completely unexpected began appearing across social media. At first, nobody believed it. Players thought it had to be fake. Some even laughed, assuming someone had created another AI-generated rumor. But within minutes, confusion turned into disbelief. Reports claimed that FIFA had suspended Balogun's automatic suspension itself. The announcement spread across social media faster than anyone could verify it. Inside the United States team bus, players were checking their phones, reading messages, and asking each other the same question. Was this actually real? Had FIFA really changed its mind? Defender Chris Richards later admitted that many players thought it was fake at first. In an era filled with edited images and AI-generated headlines, nobody wanted to believe something so unbelievable. But within minutes, confirmation arrived. FIFA had officially suspended the automatic one-match ban. Folarin Balogun was suddenly eligible to face Belgium after all. The reaction inside the American camp was immediate. What had started as a normal trip to the training ground instantly became one of the most memorable bus rides of the tournament. Coaches who had spent days preparing without their star striker suddenly had to rethink everything. Teammates who believed Balogun's World Cup was temporarily over now saw him smiling again. The mood changed almost instantly. Outside the American camp, however, the reaction couldn't have been more different. Football fans around the world weren't asking whether Balogun was a great player. They were asking something much bigger. How was this even possible? For days, everyone had been told that a World Cup red card carried an automatic suspension with no appeal process. Analysts had explained it. Journalists had reported it. FIFA officials themselves had reportedly informed teams that there was no mechanism to challenge the punishment. Belgium had prepared for a match without the American striker. The United States had accepted the decision and adjusted its plans. Then, without warning, everything changed. FIFA released a statement explaining that the implementation of Balogun's automatic suspension would be suspended for a probationary period of 1 year. The organization cited Article 27 of its disciplinary code, a regulation that allows FIFA's judicial body to fully or partially suspend certain disciplinary measures under exceptional circumstances. Suddenly, Article 27 became the most searched football rule in the world. Most supporters had never even heard of it. Many journalists admitted they had never needed to reference it during a World Cup. Even experienced football analysts were surprised that such a rule could be applied to an automatic suspension during the middle of the tournament. And that's what made the situation so explosive. The decision wasn't simply unusual. It was historic. According to multiple reports, this was believed to be only the second known occasion in World Cup history that FIFA had lifted an automatic red card suspension, and the first since Brazil's legendary Garrincha was cleared to play before the 1962 World Cup final. More than 60 years had passed without another example. Now, on the eve of one of the biggest knockout matches of the 2026 tournament, the rule suddenly returned. That timing immediately raised difficult questions. Why this case? Why now? And why for the United States, one of the tournament's host nations? Those questions became even louder after reports emerged about what had allegedly happened behind the scenes. According to reporting from the New York Times, US President Donald Trump personally contacted FIFA President Gianni Infantino during the week and asked him to review Balogun's suspension. The report cited people familiar with the conversation and quickly became one of the biggest headlines of the World Cup. Trump later confirmed that he had asked FIFA to review the decision because he believed the challenge should never have resulted in a red card. His comments immediately transformed what had been a football controversy into an international political story. But the reported involvement didn't stop there. Multiple reports claimed that Andrew Giuliani, executive director of the White House World Cup Task Force, also communicated with FIFA regarding the case. Reports further stated that Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick was involved in discussions, while lawyers reportedly worked alongside U.S. Soccer in an effort to challenge the suspension. Whether people supported the effort or opposed it, one fact was impossible to ignore. This was no longer just about VAR. This was no longer just about one tackle. Now the highest levels of government were reportedly connected to one of the biggest disciplinary decisions in modern World Cup history. After FIFA announced its decision, Trump publicly thanked the organization for what he described as correcting a major injustice. Speaking later, he repeated that he believed Balogun had never committed a red card offense and argued that removing one of America's best players from such an important match would have been unfair. Supporters of the decision argued that justice had finally been served. They believed the original VAR review had exaggerated accidental contact and that Balogun never deserved to miss the Belgium match in the first place. To them, FIFA had simply corrected an obvious mistake. Critics saw something completely different. They questioned why an automatic suspension that everyone believed was final suddenly disappeared only after reports of political involvement. Even if every step followed FIFA's disciplinary code, many believed the timing created an appearance problem that football simply could not afford during its biggest tournament. And appearances matter. Because once fans begin questioning whether the rules apply equally to every nation, every future disciplinary decision comes under greater scrutiny. That concern became even stronger because Trump and FIFA President Gianni Infantino were already known to have a close public relationship. The two had appeared together at multiple FIFA events before the tournament, and with the World Cup final approaching, Infantino was expected to share the global stage with the American president once again. For critics, those existing connections only intensified the debate. For supporters, they proved nothing. Football suddenly found itself divided. Was this justice? Or was this favoritism? No matter which side people believed, one thing was becoming impossible to deny. The controversy had grown far beyond Folarin Balogun. It was now about FIFA itself. Questions about transparency, consistency, and the integrity of the World Cup were dominating conversations across television studios, newspaper headlines, podcasts, and social media around the globe. Belgium's reaction was immediate, and it was anything but quiet. From the moment FIFA confirmed that Folarin Balogun would be eligible to play, officials inside the Belgian camp believed something had gone seriously wrong. They had spent several days preparing for a round of 16 match without the United States' most dangerous attacker. Defensive plans had been built around his absence. Tactical meetings had focused on a different American lineup. Now, less than 24 hours before kickoff, everything changed. The Royal Belgian Football Association released a strongly worded statement expressing its astonishment at FIFA's decision. It wasn't simply disappointment. It was disbelief. Belgian officials questioned how an automatic suspension that everyone believed was final could suddenly be suspended at the last possible moment. Their frustration only grew as they searched for answers. Head coach Rudy Garcia didn't hide his feelings during his pre-match press conference. Instead of delivering the usual cautious comments coaches often give before a knockout match, he opened with a line that instantly spread across football media around the world. He joked that he didn't realize July 5th had suddenly become April 1st. In other words, he suggested the entire situation felt like an April Fool's joke. But after the laughter came a much more serious message. Garcia made it clear that Belgium wasn't simply defending its own national team. In his words, this was about protecting football itself. Ethics, fairness, integrity. Those were the issues he believed were now at stake. Belgium goalkeeper Thibaut Courtois also admitted the timing of FIFA's announcement came as a surprise. Like everyone else, he believed the decision had completely changed the preparation for one of the biggest matches of the tournament. The Belgian Football Association wasn't satisfied with public statements alone. According to reports, Belgium sought an explanation from FIFA regarding how the decision had been reached. Officials wanted transparency. They wanted to understand why this case had been handled differently from every other automatic suspension during the tournament. But that search for answers only created even more confusion. Belgian officials argued that FIFA had effectively created a process for them to challenge the decision while simultaneously ensuring that the challenge would not be considered admissible. To them, it felt like chasing an explanation that could never actually be obtained. As frustration continued to build inside Belgium, an even bigger voice entered the debate: UEFA. When European football's governing body released its statement, the language was unusually direct. Diplomatic wording disappeared almost entirely. UEFA declared that FIFA's decision had crossed a red line. Those 4 words instantly became another headline around the football world. Crossed a red line. That wasn't ordinary criticism. It was one of the strongest public condemnations FIFA had received during the tournament. UEFA argued that an automatic one-match suspension following a red card is not supposed to be optional. It is one of football's most basic disciplinary principles. According to its statement, such punishments should never become exceptions made in the middle of a World Cup because doing so risks undermining confidence in the competition itself. The organization concluded by describing FIFA's decision as unprecedented, incomprehensible, and unjustifiable. Those weren't words chosen lightly. When one of football's most powerful governing bodies publicly questions the integrity of a World Cup disciplinary decision, the conversation immediately becomes much larger than one player or one match. The criticism didn't stop there. Germany's Football Association also demanded a clear explanation from FIFA, warning that reports of political involvement needed to be addressed quickly. Officials argued that any impression of outside influence over sporting decisions had the potential to damage the credibility of both the tournament and FIFA itself. By now, football's biggest institutions were openly questioning one decision. And then some of the sport's biggest personalities joined the conversation. Wayne Rooney didn't hesitate. The former England captain called the situation an absolute disgrace. While Rooney personally believed Balogun's tackle wasn't worthy of a red card, he argued that changing the punishment in this manner created an even bigger problem. According to Rooney, football's sportsmanship and credibility were now being questioned. He also suggested that many fans would inevitably wonder whether FIFA wanted to keep one of the host nation's biggest stars in the competition. Gary Neville was equally critical. Speaking on television, the former Manchester United defender said the entire situation simply didn't pass the smell test. He argued that if FIFA believed referees could make mistakes serious enough to deserve review after the match, then there should be a clear, transparent review system for every player, not an extraordinary solution that appeared only in one particular case. His conclusion was simple. To him, the whole situation looked wrong. Then came one of the strongest reactions of all. Jurgen Klopp, one of football's most respected managers, acknowledged that many people felt sympathy for Balogun. Missing a World Cup knockout match because of a controversial red card would be heartbreaking for any player. But Klopp argued that football is built on rules. Whether supporters agree with every decision or not, consistency is what protects the sport. If exceptions begin appearing without complete transparency, then every future disciplinary decision risks being questioned. He also expressed concern over reports linking political figures to FIFA's decision-making process, saying that if those reports were accurate, they would raise serious questions about football's independence. Thierry Henry offered another important perspective. The French legend said Belgium had likely spent days preparing for a match without Balogun, only to discover at the last minute that those tactical plans had become useless. He also believed Balogun never deserved a red card, yet he questioned why FIFA waited until the eve of the match to announce its final decision. Timing, in Henry's view, mattered almost as much as the decision itself. England manager Thomas Tuchel raised similar concerns. As the football world continued arguing about FIFA's decision, another remarkable part of this story began attracting attention. It had nothing to do with VAR, Article 27, or even the phone calls. Instead, it centered on Folarin Balogun himself and the unusual journey that brought him to the United States national team in the first place. Balogun's path to wearing the American jersey has never been ordinary. He was born in Brooklyn, New York, while his Nigerian